Happy Wednesday, everyone, to another episode of the Desktop Confessional. It's Wednesday. That means that school ends early at 1:30 p.m. For the students, and then I have to sit through some pretty useless professional development for about 2 hours or so. Hopefully not 2 hours. A lot of this professional development has been focused toward teachers and a lot of like classroom management and classroom practices and stuff like that. So usually after like the first part of this whole thing, I can leave, but at the same time, it still makes it for some really boring stuff. We have to do that at the beginning of every professional development. I have to there's these cards that are out, and we have to celebrate somebody's success or something like that, which is the most trivial thing that happens during this week because it's like the one day that you have to kind of feel like, yeah, you're being recognized or something like that. It's perfectly fake to me, but it is what it is. But I'm really grateful for this short week, although this short week is getting even shorter. Because I had mentioned this on Monday and in some of the other episodes of Desktop Confessionals, but I was up for a interview at Fullerton School District on Tuesday. So on Tuesday I didn't come into work until noon, and it was a pretty interesting format for an interview. It was pretty obvious that I was up against several other people. And so the interviews, you think a standard interview when you go in for a job is they bring you in, they ask you a bunch of questions, and then you leave, right? This one was different. I was asked to go into a quiet room, given all of the questions in a prompt, like in a sheet. I had 10 minutes to go over them, and then the exact questions were read to me in the interview by two panelists, and it was supposed to have been three, but somebody was out sick, and I had to reply all of my answers to them, and while all that's going on, it's being tape recorded. Right. So that was pretty involved. Needless to say, I felt pretty good about getting this interview and getting out, and I was able to run and get some food for my rats and stuff like that. But I just found out that tomorrow I have to go back to Fullerton for a final interview, which is not structured. It's going to be with the higher ups who are going to be in charge of me. So we're going to see if this is all going to work out. So I just requested the half day on emergency off as an appointment. It is what it is. I have sick time. I have every right to use it. There we go. So I get to find out if this nightmare is going to be over soon. Speaking of nightmares, it's kind of sad to think about this, but my work is on 98th and Main. 98th and Main in South LA is not a great area. I mean, I had mentioned in other episodes that there's usually at least a murder or some sort of somebody getting assaulted or someone getting into a fight in front of the school, or the parents driving retarded and almost striking a student, and there's just a lot of things going on. There's really a lack of order and a lack of intelligence half the time when, you're dealing with people out here. And, I had to mention a few things. And if you were reading on Facebook earlier, you probably read these already. But, we're having a larger than normal problem with a couple gang groups who hang around the area where my school site is. And yesterday, a student was robbed of their necklace. And my facilities manager, who was outside cleaning and trying to remove all the graffiti that the gang members left behind, they came by yesterday and threatened her because she was cleaning off their graffiti. Well, it's like, no shit, Sherlock. I mean, I understand that you probably have like a first grade education, but if you're going to be spray painting and vandalizing a school, expect for it to get cleaned up pretty quickly. Schools really don't want people like you out there. I think that for most schools, the purpose of having school is to prevent people like you. Anyway, with that being said, that's not happening. Of course, I go to the liquor store across the street during my 10-minute break, which I took at 9:30, and I was done exactly at 9:40. And and right in the parking lot of the liquor store, I'm passing a car that is having its music is turned up like really high, and there was a lady in the front seat, and she was smoking crack, and And then this other lady to the left of her, or just outside the car next to the door of the liquor store, was twerking to the music. I didn't know what to make of this because I mean I'm not a twerker. I don't twerk or do things with my booty like that. So I'm kind of confused. So that was my entertainment as I was going in to go get my cup of noodles. Sam's 40. Although I will have to admit there are some moments here when I'm sitting at my desk and wishing that I could drink, but I'm really not allowed to do that. So that's really the long and short of it here at work, and I'm hoping that I'm gonna do a little practice and some preparation, in response to tomorrow. But frankly, this is what it is. It's the decisions that were made by other people that are in charge of me, and just lack of sensitivity and respect and everything else, led me to have to make the decisions to seek other opportunities, and this is where we are. I just hope things go well tomorrow. This has been a very involved interview and interviewing and testing process for this just particular position. I really hope that it all works out because there's so many mixed feelings. And I will say this. There's so many mixed feelings because, and I know that kids will understand, especially as they grow up, but we're here for them a lot of the time, but we're also here for us. And it's difficult when the adults cannot work well enough together and they have to quietly go. And they have to start thinking about separating themselves from this environment where we're supposed to nurture and help. But the nurturing and the help have to go two ways. They have to go two ways. It's not just nurturing of the students, it's also nurturing of the adults. And I am not seeing a lot of adult nurturing here. I am coming across teachers who are frustrated beyond belief. I'm coming across teachers who are contemplating leaving at the end of this school year, and we're only in September. I already had another teacher already break down and cry after a really horrible day with students. I was kind of amused because my operations manager is breaking a shit ton of rules when it's coming to ordering technology. We have a school credit card, and technically we're not allowed to order technology or anything from Amazon with it. But because there's so many issues at the central office in regards to acquisition of items and purchase orders, some corners have had to been cut and some rules have had to been broken. So I remember very vividly that the rules were broken so that my operations manager would get a replacement keyboard for the desktop Mac that's on the top of her desk. Well, I just got a call from my attendance clerk, who has been around forever. My attendance clerk calls me and says, "Hey, I need you to put in a request in the purchase request form for a replacement keyboard for my Mac desktop because it's starting to fail." And I'm like, okay. So then I asked for clarification. I said, could you please go ask, the operations manager to see if you could, if you could have one ordered. And then she calls me back, about 30 seconds later and is like, no, you got to put it in the request form. And of course, knowing the current delay in acquiring anything, even just for an approval, we are looking closer to 8 to 9 weeks on approvals. Approvals alone. This isn't even the ordering part. This is the approval for purchase. And we're looking at almost a 2-month backlog. So the first thing that came to my mind, and I told my my attendance clerk, I said, you are aware that if I put this purchase request in, to be reviewed by the principal, that you're probably never going to get this thing, right? And her answer to that was, well, yeah, I figured. So I did it anyway. And so there's a request for a replacement keyboard floating in ethereal space. And I'm going to say that she's probably not going to get it until after Christmas if they even look. Because seriously here, when it comes to the needs of the needs of our people here, no one is going to get what they want. And it's not going to happen. I requested things like speakers. I requested things like surge protectors. I requested replacement bulbs for projectors when they go out. I requested 2 new projectors. Like, there's just a lot of things that I have requested for, and nothing. I requested for this shit back in August. I know it's September, and I mean, but when something goes bad, don't ask me about parts. Fix it yourself. Get some duct tape. Nothing I can do if I don't have the tools to do my job. Funny enough is that I explicitly wrote on the notes that I tape to, whenever every time a laptop breaks, I make sure that I write a note and tape it to the top of the laptop explaining the problem, so that if it's not me that's going to touch it someday, somebody else will. They'll understand why this thing is not working. And on one of the MacBooks, I kind of just gave up, and I just wrote on there, I don't have the tools to take it apart. Plain and simple. I don't have the tools. So you guys are going to have to work amongst yourselves and figure it out. Yeah. You know, some of the things that I do are benefiting people, but I still, like, it's hard for me to feel joy here. It's challenging enough for me to even just feel like anything here. So with that being said, you know, and this is a pretty, you know, somber way to kind of think about things, but, you know, it's, you've reached the end. When you reach the end of your rope, it's hard, you know, because you can keep climbing. You can keep climbing this rope, but you realize that, you know, the journey back to the end, the original end you started from, is still closer than the destination that you want to reach. Yeah, there's a lot of things here that are very irreparable, and it's unfortunate. But I'm also realizing too, and I have to keep reminding myself, is that I got into this position way, way too overqualified. I created a standard that no one else in their right mind would stay long enough to uphold. Yeah. It is what it is, right? Fortunately, that one wasn't for me today. I should probably turn off my radio. But I'm surprised. We're at 12:24 right now. I've been at lunch almost 20 minutes. And surprisingly, I have not been asked for anything. I'm actually very, very impressed. Besides the point. Anyway, it's a quick one today. I just wanted to chime in and just let you know what's going on with Fullerton. And, you know, I got one more round. We're going to see if this is all going to work out. But, yeah, maybe if I can give myself another 5-10 minutes, I think I might be able to take a nap. Turn off the lights and stuff. Hopefully they leave me alone. We'll see. All right. Aside from that, you know where to put all the comments. Parting thought for the night. You know, this Saturday marks the beginning of my other class at Cal State Long Beach. And this class is with the same professor who really insulted my intelligence last semester. He's a really nice guy, but man, I'll tell you, his stuff is outdated. And so he asked us to create a PowerPoint. It was part of an exercise. And so I did my PowerPoint on lane splitting. And it was really just more for a visual test than anything else. So if anyone's interested in looking at that PowerPoint, I just message me and I'll send it to you on an attachment. It's really cute. I take all the information off of a pamphlet that has been propagating through. It's the original CHP guidelines on how to lane split properly in California. So if you're interested in seeing what I did for a homework assignment, I can give that to you. All right, so I will talk to you all later. Be good, you know, hide the bodies, and just don't get hurt. All right, peace out.